Good morning, flutarians. Welcome to another session of the Atomic Flutist. I'm over here thinking at the moment about this skill I've managed to acquire in improvising and being able to enter a song gently. I feel like frequently beginner improvisers come in too hard, too fast, with too many notes, and it's just too much. It's jarring. The flute detracts instead of adds. So I was thinking that maybe with our little beginning improvisation in the key of A flat with just the notes A flat, B flat, and C can be kind of like an introduction to this of entering a song gently. So we can do that in a couple of ways. I think the first way to do that is to just play one note and to play quietly. So if you don't know the key signature, for example, you just choose a random note, play it, and you judge then. Does it sound consonant or does it sound dissonant? If it sounds dissonant, if you hate it as opposed to love it, use the chromatic scale to ascend or descend to another close by note that sounds more consonant. You can never be further away than 2 notes on the chromatic scale from a chord tone. So after I find one note that works, I try and go up a minor third or a major third from there and discover which one is it. Because, for example, if we're playing in A flat, if you play a C natural, okay, then we're probably in the key of A flat or a related key with a similar number of flats, like it could be E flat, which also has the note A flat in it, or it could be D flat, which also has the note A flat in it. But if we play a B natural and the B natural is what sounds consonant and good, then we're probably in the key of, what would that be? The relative minor, B major, G sharp minor. So one important fact to know about the key signatures that helps in the process of elimination for discovering what key signature are we in, what key signature is the song in, is to know that we always add the sharps and flats in the same order. So F sharp first, right? Then C sharp, then G sharp, and so on and so forth. The same thing with the flats. We add B flat first, then E flat, then A flat. So if we know that there's an A flat in the key signature, then we're definitely not in the key of B flat because B flat doesn't have an A flat. It's going to be anything that already has the A flat in it. Whew. It is supposed to be 84 degrees here in Austin, Texas today. I hope my friends in New York and other frigid places are staying warm. So let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of improvisation on just the first 3 notes of the A flat major scale. So I've decided to start having a key of the day related to the day of the month. So today we are in the 9th day of February, and if we count up from C on the chromatic scale, C, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, A flat, that leads us to A flat. So you probably already know that I specialize in improvisation. I'll be playing improv games tonight with some other flutarians at 7 p.m. Central Time. But let's just do a short improvisation on the notes A flat, B flat, and C. We'll do like a 2-breath improv. Play the most beautiful flute note you've played all day. So remember that improvisation is not just which notes we play, but how we play them. So we can improvise with the volume or the dynamics, the articulation, all those musical elements. So let's go ahead and start warming up our lower register. We're gonna start on the A flat and play 2 notes per breath. And I want us to do this without vibrato so that we can focus on our intonation and start as quietly as possible. Here's my little crescendo to as loud as possible when we change down to the next lower note, and then make a decrescendo to as quiet as possible. So try and think of an awareness of how full is your air tank, and when you're about 51% full or empty, then make the transition to the next note. So we'll do A flat to G. G to G flat. That was E flat. We'll do E flat to D next. Now, if you're cracking up into the next octave, that's okay. Part of what we're doing here is learning what is actually happening in the embouchure for that change to the upper octave to happen. So if you're having trouble cracking up into the upper octave, go back to the previous set of 2, do that one again, and see if you can relax into the next lower one. So here we go with E flat to D. Now here comes another way to relax into that low C. Some people call it the Remington exercise. I guess Mr. or Miss Remington popularized it. So we'll start on the same note, A flat. We'll start on the same note for each two note segment, and we'll increase the distance of the interval each time. So first we'll do A flat to G, take a breath, then do A flat to G flat, take a breath, do A flat to F, and so on until we get all the way down to the low C. A flat to D. A flat to C. Now a little trick with my right pinky. When I know that I'm about to go down to a low C, I move my pinky for the A flat, the top A flat, from where it would normally be anchored on this pinky key. I go ahead and prepare it for the low C and leave those two there. So let's actually warm up our fingers a little bit for the chromatic scale and we're going to do 4 chromatic notes at a time like this. We'll do that until we run out of breath, or until I run out of breath, then we'll go down by 1. So let's go ahead and start on the A flat. And I consider the lowest octave on the flute to be the foundation for a beautiful upper octave, so I always warm up my low octave first. Here we go on A flat down to F. So I've been doing this so far mostly without using my tongue to articulate, just slurred. But let's think about how is it different? How does it feel different? How does the flute react differently when we start the note with a tu versus without the tongue, like a whoo? So let's do kind of the reverse of the Remington that we did earlier. We'll start on the low C and go C, C to D flat. But let's do it first with a two, two, and then a hoo, hoo, and then we'll increase the distance of the interval. So maybe do a two, two, and a hoo, hoo, and then a two, two, and a hoo, hoo. We'll do it twice. I like to kind of reset my embouchure between each one so that I'm really refreshing my muscle memory on where does the embouchure need to be placed, how does it need to be shaped for the next interval. So let's do C to D. That sounds very mysterious. Here we go, C to E flat. And C to F. I skipped C to E natural. Let's do C to E natural. And C to F. And C to F sharp. And C to G. And C to A flat. Now, in my experience, using the tongue to start the note helps the note speak faster and easier on the flute. However, sometimes I want a softer beginning, and so I use a who sound to start the flute note. I was hearing some of what I call whistle tones, though, at the very beginning of my notes with the who, and those are these little quiet, I think of them almost as like fairy sounds that come out when we have a low volume of air coming out. So we usually hear these at the very beginning of a note before our airstream has sped up enough and there's more volume of air, or when we're ending a note and it doesn't decrease the volume fast enough. So let's go put our fingers on the note for the low C and see if we can intentionally get out some of those whisper tones. I know some professional flutists who use these to warm up their embouchure backstage before going on Broadway, for example, so that they can get their muscles warmed up without being heard out in the audience. So this does also follow the harmonic series, so you might hear different notes coming out. Let's just do this for 2 breaths. It is an extended technique you might occasionally find in contemporary modern music, but I think it's also great to practice because of the finesse it requires, and it helps us learn how to avoid doing it when we don't want to do it, because then we understand better what's happening. So let's start warming up into upper register, and we'll do this in the A flat scale with octaves. So once we get up to, let's see, I guess E flat, then I want to use the harmonic fingerings. And by that, I mean, I want you to play the higher note with the same fingerings that you're using for the lower note. So we'll do, let's do these. Actually, let's mix it up between slurred, la, and then tongued, ta, 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 ta. So A flat to A flat. B flat. C. And D flat. And E flat. And F. And G. And A flat. Now the notes can be a little bit more out of tune when we're using the harmonic fingerings, but with that extra bit of resistance, it helps train the embouchure where exactly does it need to be for the upper. So let's go back to this A flat. And let's spend a minute or two on vibrato practice. So let's do one breath that's just slow and big vibrato, as big as possible. It'll sound like pitch bends because, well, vibrato really is just little bends in the pitch. So we'll do it slow first, and then we'll take a breath, and we'll do fast next. Same note, but as fast vibrato as possible. Let's do the same thing again. Super slow, and then take a breath, and then super fast. And fast. Take a breath, shake it out. Now we'll do the same thing, same type of thing, but like like you're turning the volume or the speed dial up, or like you're pushing your foot down on the accelerator pedal. We'll start as slow as possible, finish as fast as possible, then we'll take a breath and start with as fast vibrato as possible, and then make it as slow as possible. Here we go, slow to fast. And fast to slow. Now let's work a little bit with tonguing. I'm going to do double tonguing, ta-ka or da-ga. I like the ga a little bit better. It's like the rebound of the tongue. But if you want to practice ta-ta-ta, just a single articulation, you can do that too. Mostly what I'm going to be focusing on here is keeping the tongue from preventing the airstream flowing. We just want the tongue to stop the airstream for a fraction of a second. So let's start on that same A flat and do, let's see, can we do 12? Taka, 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 ta on one note. Then we'll do the same thing on B flat, and we'll go all the way up to the high A flat. I'm remembering as I play that high E flat, A flat, I said E flat because I'm remembering that if it's sharp, you can put your fingers down on your right hand like the shape of an E flat, and it brings the pitch down a little bit lower. I'll show you what I mean. So occasionally I use that alternate fingering to compensate. Let's do the same thing, starting on the high A flat and then going down. with a nice vibrato on the last note, too. Here comes the G. All right. Well, thanks for warming up with me for another session of the Atomic Flutist. I'll be hosting improv games tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. Please come join us or check out the Flutarian school calendar. That's the best place to see what's happening. And you can join us for improv games that you can play on your own time as well and join the conversation. See you later.